This is so weird. My sister wrinkled her nose, already irritated. I rolled my eyes. This is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience, Irene. Plus, I bought you a cola like I promised, so shut it. The only reason I had dragged Irene with me at all was because my mum wouldn't let me take a train to Manchester on my own. Music wasn't really Irene's thing. She loved to read, devoting endless hours to memorizing her favourite poetry, but she refused to see that jazz was emotion turned to rhythm rather than words. You were supposed to feel what the musicians were trying to communicate in a way that transcended human language. It set my soul on fire, but Irene just shook her head. Mum thought we were both wasting our time. She thought we should take up sewing, an actual skill in her mind. She filled the room with heavy sighs every time she caught me dragging out my father's old guitar. I always pretended not to notice, drowning her out as I plucked away at the strings. Really, the only reason Mum let us go to Manchester at all was that she swooned every time Muddy Waters came on the radio. I just don't understand why they aren't doing a proper show in London, Irene whined. We had to come all this way, and now we're sitting in the rain by a crummy old train station. I couldn't argue with that, so I just ignored her. No matter how much she complained, I was about to see the true legends of rock and roll perform, here all the way from across the pond for such a brief time. I was going to be sharing the same air with my heroes. They could have performed in the toilets for all I cared. This would still be the best day of my life. While we waited, I took the opportunity to people-watch, taking note of the crowd around me. There was an energy buzzing in the air. We were all clearly a bit on edge, certain something special was about to happen to us. I was smiling to myself, just breathing in the magic, when I saw her. She was sitting by herself, frankly looking a little uncomfortable. I noticed her right away because of her trousers and pressed shirt, her braids under a hat that currently obscured most of her face from view. Despite her masculine attire, she was petite, almost drowning in her clothes. I didn't know why I was so charmed, but for some reason, I couldn't look away. And then, abruptly and brutally, the rain thickened to a downpour. We all went from damp to drenched, the storm showing no mercy. "Adeline!" Irene wailed. "I'll never forgive you for this!" I couldn't help it. I laughed. Deep bellows that gave me a stomachache. My sister despised being wet. "Oh, come on, don't be a baby," I said, patting her on the shoulder. She grumbled, crossing her arms as she shivered. I was still grinning as I looked up, meeting the eyes of that peculiar stranger. She tipped her hat, smiling back at me, and a wave of heat shot straight through my body. I blinked stupidly. It was like I'd been hit by lightning. Before I could wave or even swallow, the crowd broke out into applause, and she turned back to the stage. Feeling somehow out of breath, I shifted my gaze and realized that Sister Rosetta Tharpe had arrived in a carriage. "She's here!" I gasped, grabbing Irene's arm. This was it. The moment we were waiting for. The reason we had come to Manchester. My heroine. Sister Rosetta Tharpe had changed music around the world. Listening to her records, I felt something stir in me that I didn't feel listening to anyone else. And when I read that she had loved both women and men, something clicked that I had never quite understood about myself before. And now, here she was, strapping on a guitar. As she began to play along with her band, singing Didn't It Rain, I suddenly felt my purpose in life. I knew I needed to awaken emotion in people the same way Sister Rosetta had done for me. I'd never find happiness with anything less.